have an article out at American Thinker today that explains to people how what we're seeing play out in Minneapolis right now is straight out of Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. Saul Alinsky, a community organizer, a hero of Hillary Clinton, he sought to, in his own words, foment revolution in the United States of America. He was a Marxist. And so his playbook explains the process by which you can create that revolution in the United States. And it's a 3-step process. The first step is to create a crisis. And you've got to do that because you have to find a way to motivate your indoctrinated communist supporters to get out in the street. And Minneapolis created this crisis because, look, there are more deportations by far happening in other states, and you don't have any conflict whatsoever. And that's because in those states, the authorities, the police, et cetera, are cooperating with ICE, and you don't have Democrat politicians who are telling people to go out and get in the faces of ICE and interrupt their operations. Nor do you have elaborate, highly funded organizations that are training people to engage in this type of illegal activity. So that's the first thing. Minneapolis created this crisis. And part of creating that crisis was they wanted to create martyrs. And, I got to tell you, one of the principal questions, central questions I try to address in my book, For Christ and Country, The Martyrdom of Charlie Kirk, I think people think it's a biography. It's not a biography. It's an examination of how we got to this point where someone like Charlie Kirk could be assassinated, and then leftists throughout this country on TV who went to your high school, who are online right now, some of them even watching the show, celebrated Charlie Kirk's death, which is the kind of behavior we saw from Muslims in the Middle East when they were dancing and handing out candy when thousands of Americans were slaughtered on 9/11. The war on terror has simply come home. We didn't defeat the ideology. We sat here and watched as it was adopted by the Democrat Party, and that's what we see today. And so the next step after creating the crisis, of course, is you blame your opponent and you isolate and freeze a target. You personalize it. And so that's why you have these Democrats nonstop out there calling ICE agents Nazis and fascists, the Gestapo, the SS. They are the face of evil. And so when they get a Renee Good, they send her out there with a bomb vest, basically, like the jihadists do. And that's what the Democrat Party is today, a bunch of jihadists. The radical left is a jihadist movement and ideology, absolutely.
Find their Drew Allen Show on this platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Ram TV Live.